Hey y'all. Okay, today I am going to be doing something a little bit different, and this might start a series, who knows? But today I'm going to be doing a full book review on the book titled The Gift Is Us by Lula White. First of all, let's say thank you to Black Romance Book Fest for sending me an arc of this book. I am excited because this is my first arc, and I'm just like, I'm gushing, I'm blushing. I am thrilled that they chose me. Like, girl, what? Okay, what? Period. Ain't that what the kids say? Clock it. Anyway, I did that for my little cousin. Clock it. Okay, cool. The Gift of Us by Lula White is about, let me see if I can just read it straight off of Storygraph. So it says, from Sunday's perspective, it says, just days before Christmas, Sunday Conklin is on the brink of losing everything. Her family's scenic farm and the heart of her small Arcus town. It's the legacy she's given up her life to protect. Okay. With the bank out of mercy and her options gone, her family's oldest enemy, the Adlers, will finally... What? Sorry. It's the legacy she's given up her life to protect. With the bank out of mercy and her options gone, her family's oldest enemy, the Adlers, will finally take the Conklin fields for themselves, but a miracle arrives, and one that could save Sunday, her neighbors, and the historic town of Elaine itself. There's just one that miracle comes tangled up. I guess there's just one problem: that miracle comes tangled up in the most infuriating man she's ever met, who brings back in Texas where he came from, who belongs right back in Texas where he came from. Yeah, sometimes reading out loud is like, I'm trying to get the emotion and stuff across while I'm reading this stuff on the page and it's not coming through. I get tongue tied. I'm so very sorry. Anyway, Seven Heart Castle can't believe his luck this Christmas. When he's assigned to a middle of nowhere Arkansas town, he's ready to return to his perfectly manicured life in Dallas with his wife and kids. All he needs is one signature: Sunday Conklin's. That is okay. That's such a name. Okay. But when the town of Elaine strikes it big, Seven's fate is tied up with that of its most stubborn, maddening, and undeniably magnetic farm owner. As the town's secrets unravel and Sunday's fight becomes his own, Seven is handed a Christmas gift he never expected, one that forces him to question his past, his future, and where he truly is. Seven is married. At the beginning of this book, he has a wife. Not only does he have a wife, but he is really trying to make sure that the bond with his wife can be reconnected and strong. He has 3 children. Like, Seven got a life in Texas, okay? Just like Sunday has a life in Arkansas. Ain't neither one of them waiting around for the other person. So that was a huge shock to me.
With his wife and kids.
Now, it wasn't a red flag because I've read a book like that before. Can we please take a moment to gather ourselves for This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan? So since I had read a book where obviously one or both of them, actually no, I think only Soledad was married in this book. I don't think he was. What's his name? Judah. I don't think Judah was married at the beginning of this book, but Soledad definitely was married. And on top of that, when she met Judah, she was already not feeling him either, just like Seven and Sunday in The Gift of Us. So I wasn't completely put off because I gave this book a 4.5 stars, maybe even a 5, honey. I fluctuate because it wasn't a romance, but it was a decent book. It was a lovely book. If you want to know my full thoughts on this, then go ahead and go back to my channel, the video where I discussed that the most. This one right here, okay, where I was reading part 2 of romance series. So let me just walk y'all through my thoughts as if we were in a romance vlog, because there are things that I tell y'all about, like my first impressions and this percent, whatever. So my first impressions, obviously, I was shocked to know that Seven was married
with his wife and kids.
because, girl, what? I was immediately taken aback
With his wife and kids.
because it's like, are we supposed to be rooting for his relationship with his wife Arista, or are we rooting for them to break up and for him to get with Seven? Now let's talk about the characters. Sunday is strong-willed. My dog just fell off the couch. She's looking at me like, are you laughing at me? Sorry. Anyway, Sunday is very strong-willed. She is stubborn. And she's the one carrying most of the responsibility of her family's farm. She does have siblings and other relatives and just family friends and people who live in this small town of Elaine, Arkansas that help with the farm. But she has the majority of the responsibility on her back. Okay. Seven is a father and a husband. And he is trying to relight the spark in his marriage to his wife, Arista. But in parts of this book, he seems a bit naive or too trusting of the people around him. But his children are hilarious. So we're here for it. Let me say this. The side characters were giving what needed to be gave because they were everything in this book. All right. Everything. Seven and Sunday were already hilarious and I love their dynamic. But the side characters, when I say side characters, I mean everybody around Sunday. Like I said, she has a tight-knit community, literally a whole community around her. Her mom, her mom has a friend named like Mama Piggy. They also have some people in the community that are like always at the house helping out, as well as her nieces, her nephews, her younger brother, and her sister. So many people. Seven as well has siblings. I think an uncle that pops up a lot. All three of his children, and then his wife is just crazy. She ain't crazy. But she might be. I don't know. Whatever. That's up to you. Anyway, so those are my first impressions. About a 20% mark, we find out what they farm, and that's hilarious because I didn't know that could be farmed. Okay, so it's like they farm what? Run it back. So I never thought about that, but yes, honey, when you find out what they farm, it is quite hilarious. Now, I will say the children in this book definitely have personalities of their own. This is about the 25 to 30% mark. We're into the plot heavily, okay? And at this point, Sunday and Seven have met each other, and Seven has also met Sunday's best friend, Earl. If you know, you know. If you don't, please read the book so you know who Earl is, okay? He has become very well acquainted with Sunday's friend, Earl. Now, the children in this book have their own personalities. I really enjoy how the nieces and nephews of Sunday are very insightful. And you can tell that they have had to grow up because of their situation a lot faster than what some other kids their age may have had to. Like the 13-year-old and is her nephew. Her 13-year-old nephew is doing things that like they do in the country. You know what I'm saying? Like he got real responsibilities. He really out here in these streets with his responsibilities because there's a lot going on and they don't need that farm taken from them. And then she also has a niece, I believe, who's like 7. Meanwhile, Seven also has children, like I've said, that are very insightful, but in a different way, since they are not living in a small town, in a country town where they are using their hands and worrying about money. They are still in a capitalist society, just like Sunday, but they're still in a society of capitalism and racism and all the things. They just have a different view on it. So that juxtaposition is interesting, and I feel like Lula White did a very good job of creating well-rounded children without making them annoying or out of touch or out of, reality, you know. I was saying that a lot. Okay. So yeah, around this time we are getting a lot of characters, and I really enjoy it. Also, um, there is a second timeline that's taken off, and we don't know how that part is going to play out, obviously, but we do know that that is another point of contention between Seven and Sunday. And then there is a third timeline that is creating inner turmoil between um, Seven and his family. But the tension is very light right now. So it's a lot of moving parts and a lot of moving pieces in this book that make it so interesting and fascinating. And I think Lula White did a very good job of weaving it all together. Okay. I also want to talk about the characters and how they spoke, and how reading it made me think about my family back home. It's just so interesting, and it's so, oh my God, I just love reading it when country folks be talking. I love it. I love it. So if you are, it's just like, and if you know country folks, and if you have read books, you ain't got to know them. If you have read books like this before, or you've spoken to somebody from the South, or anything like that, or if you've watched movies based around the South in the United States, that dialogue just flies off the page, and it is hilarious. It's just, I can't talk too much. I can't talk enough about it. I think she did a very, very good job of capturing the words that are said and the syllables that's not said. If that makes sense. I think she did a really good job of writing how the language is spoken. Okay. Now, around the 60% mark, so we are doing a little bit of a jump. I was into it, girl. I couldn't stop to give you a 50% mark recap. But around the 60% mark, I say, well, now it's a full-blown mess. All right. Everything has now hit the fan. And at this point, I'm kind of starting to not like the plot. I'm not gonna lie. We have lost the plot. Okay. I think that things like this are just, I think plots like this can get really sticky for obvious reasons. And I didn't enjoy some of Seven's actions or his decisions. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to spoil none for y'all. But think about how this could get messy. Just saying. Think about how this could get out of control, how this could get out of hand, and that's basically what happens. And then you put on top of it like some past family drama, family history, capitalism. It's a lot bunched in, and now it's like, it was like putting everything in a pressure cooker without venting it. I don't know how else to say. It was like putting everything in a pressure cooker, and now, it's heating up. But yes, now it's a full-blown mess, and I wasn't quite expecting that, because everything is the way. And another reason that I keep saying, like, imagine putting it in a pressure cooker, is because of the time frame. It was so short. It was such a short time frame that I think that made everything even more combustible. It just all came to a head. So there were some points of the plot that had not been addressed at this point, and it was kind of lingering in the background. There are a lot of things that were not answered. They were avoided abruptly, and I didn't enjoy that. I won't say avoided abruptly, but they were very obviously avoided, and I didn't care for that too much. But I understand, like, waiting until certain points of the book to explain or discuss some of these topics or plot points. It's okay. I'm not going to do too much there. So now about 75% of the book, I'm like, well, there are consequences to your actions. Okay, we're figuring that out now. And I think the biggest factor of my enjoyment, this is what I wrote, the biggest factor of my enjoyment in this book is the messiness, unfortunately. So now I'm coming back around to the messiness, but I am also very uncomfortable with some of the things that happen. These characters are not perfect. The plot is not a warm and fuzzy plot at all times, but there are some things that make the story have some redeeming qualities. So if you like the quaint, small town, black family, loving community, relationships, between family and friends, and seeing those on the page, then I think this book is for you. I think that if you like some messiness in other books, like if you like urban fictions, but this isn't a urban. Okay, so when I think urban, I'm literally thinking like inner city. Obviously, they're not in the inner city, but if you like stuff like that, you would like this book, because baby, they bringing the drama to the country. Okay, at this point, we have explored so many things: racism, classism, divorce, family dynamics, discrepancies in corporate America, and how that affects people who work in corporate America. So yeah. Now, as far as now, let's talk about the ending, right? So I've given you all of my bullet points, all of the plot points. Let's talk about the ending. The ending is wrapped up beautifully. Baby, I was losing hope that we was gonna have a happy ending. I was scared that this wasn't gonna go the way that I think it was gonna go. Baby, it was touch and go for a minute, okay? But girl, Lula White brought that thing right on back around. She brought it right on back around, honey. And they had a beautiful ending. It was so sweet. And it just warms your heart. As far as the spice scenes is not that many of them, but they are spicy. Now, for me, the spice is like a 3. However, if you somebody like who don't read romance, like open door romances a lot, this could be a 4 or for you, maybe a 5 for you. But yeah, for me, it wasn't too much. It was, they kept it cute. Okay, they kept it cute, but it was an open door romance, and this is the steamy version, so do take that into consideration. My overall rating for this is a 3.5. I did enjoy it. I will read more of Lula White's writing when I get a chance. And I think that's it. I think I talked about the characters, the plot. Oh, the pacing. I talked about that. I wish that it could have been spread out along a longer timeline, because condensing it made it a little more, I don't know. And I do think that some of the things were not wrapped up. They were addressed, and there was somewhat of a conclusion to some of those, to one of the storylines I'm thinking about specifically. We kind of know what happens, but we didn't explore it enough for me because of what it was. But maybe I missed it. I'll take that. So 3.5 all in all. And yeah. So thank you to BRBF for sending me this advanced reader copy. And I will, maybe I'll do more of these, because there are so many books that I haven't really told y'all about that I actually do enjoy. And maybe I should just like do this more often. We'll see. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.